This is Anime Out of Context, a comedy review podcast hosted by a weeb of the highest order, alongside a cynical man who knows nothing about anime. Our show features spoilers, explicit language, and poor fact-checking. Neither of our hosts are experts on any topic, and none of their opinions should be taken as fact. Thank you for listening, and enjoy.
Hello and welcome to Anime Out of Context, the show where I attempt to explain the sometimes weird, sometimes wonderful, but always hilarious world of anime.
I'm sorry, I'm just going through an existential crisis right now.
God damn it, Remington. That was a stupid one and you got me with it. How could you?
It was the pregnant pause. I'm Remington Chase.
I'm Sean Rollins. Great. Now that we have that awkward start to our conversation, our podcast that people listen to have good, natured ribbing to laugh at.
The solution, Sean, is just to, as long as you chose an anime that isn't very popular so that this episode isn't their first impression of us, then we should be fine. If this is the first episode you're listening to us, not a great start.
No. Might I recommend one of the ones with a trashier anime? Those seem to be pretty popular from what I can tell.
Because it's always the trashiest ones that people have the most fun with.
Yeah. So that being said, speaking of trash, Rem, we've done nothing but do a combination of trashy and depressing things for the past month and a half.
Yeah, I'm aware. I am very aware of this fact, Sean.
Yeah, and last week I was planning on breaking the cycle because I thought, man, we've been really down in the dumps lately. I mean, I should really try and lighten things up a bit with a nice, good, cheery, happy thing. I should try and, turn this into a comedy podcast where people don't want to kill themselves by the end of it.
I mean, theoretically, Sean, sure, I interrupted your plans last week, but you've already prepared for that. Now you can just fill it in this week. Now we can get our wholesome fun.
Yeah. That was the plan. And let me tell you, Rem, planning to do a happy, cheerful, wholesome podcast after watching BoJack fucking Horseman is a bit rough. It's a bit rough.
Yeah, that's fair.
I've still got Horseman whiplash.
That's fair.
It sticks with you, man. But that being said, I did have to alter things a bit because I had to go a step more wholesome this time around, just because if I didn't, I don't know if I would ever crawl out of this pit of despair I'm in.
All right, well, I love me some wholesome goodness. I think it'll be a nice change, with the asterisk, if I do end up disliking it, then I'm a monster.
Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility, Rem. I wouldn't put it past you. You've bashed on things like this before in the past, but I will say, I did try. I tried to do something nice. I tried to give you a bit of a treat. I'm just curious to see how you feel about it. Because, Remington, today we're going to be visiting one of our old friends.
Oh? Is this another revisit?
Yes.
Are we just...
That's right. We're so hacky that all we can do is revisits these days.
Oh my god, we're trapped.
We're like the fucking 9th season of Scrubs. We're done. That's it.
Fuck.
Game over, man.
Oh no.
But no, Rem, I'm not talking about one of our old friends, a show we've seen. I'm talking about one of our old friends in terms of creators, because we're going to go say hello to an old Mr. Gibbles.
Oh, Gibbles. All right. Gibbles, good. The big Gib, as I like to call him.
Gibby Supreme, if you will.
So what's the big Gib have for us this time? We've covered a few movies in the past. We did most recently there was Totoro, which was slightly less wholesome than anticipated because of my propensity to curse. We've done.
Yeah, no, you cursed so much in that episode that one got past the censor.
Oh, God.
So anybody who was listening who was sensitive of culture, of mind, or my mother, would have heard that major fuck you dropped and been like, oh, profanity. I can't handle this kind of profanity in this explicit podcast. I must report them immediately.
Sean,
which is what my mother told me.
Sean, I got no fucks to give, which means that I have all the fucks to drop, all right? But we also saw Kiki's Delivery Service. We, of course, saw Spirited Away. We also, for those who don't know, we did Totally Not Ghibli in collaboration with Blake and Spencer Get Jumped over on their podcast. It's definitely not not Ghibli, but it's relevant. So
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll cover that one on our show, just so you can actually see the movie that we described to you,
Nah,
and you'll
man.
be able to see how not Ghibli it is.
it won't live up to my imagination of it now. But nonetheless,
Trust me, it won't.
But nonetheless, we're not here to talk about fascist Hogwarts. We're here to jump in to the big Gib. What's the big Gib got for us this week, Sean?
Well, in my research, I thought to myself, what would be a good counterbalance to all of the sex and depression of the last couple weeks? And I thought to myself, well, one of Ghibli's films that could never be sexualized, and if it is, you're going straight to jail. Today, Remington, we're going to be talking about Gake no Ue no Ponyo, or in American, Ponyo.
Okay, here's what I know about Ponyo, Sean. It's like a fish. It's a fish person or something.
Well, that's racist.
That's all I know. That's the entirety of my knowledge.
There's more to the character than just fish person. There's
I'm-
also ham.
What?
Don't worry about it. But no, Remington, you're actually not too far off. Ponyo came out in 2008, actually, so a little while ago. And it is essentially almost a Little Mermaid style story,
All right.
but not quite. It's like if you wanted to do Little Mermaid, but if with a lot more anime and a lot more cuteness and a lot less fish fucking. And a lot less trauma in regards to my past, but it is a very cute show that has probably one of the most mixed fan bases I can imagine for a Ghibli film.
Okay.
Not because it's like god awful or anything, or it's because it's amazing and fantastic and wonderful. Because there's a clear divide of people who who watch Ponyo, and it goes straight from it was okay to you know what, that was pretty cute.
I do like cute.
Yeah, it's a very lukewarm spectrum of people who enjoy Ponyo.
All right. Here's my concern, Sean. Through the other big Yib productions that we have seen, I figured out that, in my opinion, I love the humanity of their movies, but I hate in my opinion, they suck ass at plot. They are just so bad at actual plot. And it's like they're masterpieces when they don't try to do plot. But when they do try to do plot, it becomes a clusterfuck real fast. So
so we are going to get into controversy first and foremost, I see.
So I suppose my question is, on the scale of like, I guess, slice of life to heavy plot, where would you put Ponyo?
I would put it more on the slice of life side. But definitely there are some plot elements because, you know, it's not every day a goldfish sneaks away from home and gets stuck in a glass jar to hang out with a 5-year-old boy.
Wait a minute, are we just watching anime Nemo? Is that all we're watching right now?
It's like if Finding Nemo and Little Mermaid had a child.
Oh,
That
no.
is probably the best way I could describe it, which is horrifying considering the fact that you don't want to think about either of those movies and procreation.
All right, well, here we all are. You've placed this here, Sean. So other than kids' movies having sex with one another, what exactly? So Ponyo, they're goldfish. They get trapped in a 5-year-old's cup. Okay, yeah, sure, gotcha.
She. So yeah, no. The plot of Ponyo is pretty straightforward. Ponyo is a little tiny magical goldfish. Sneaks away from her home, gets stuck in a jar, drifts to the shore, freed by a curious fellow by the name of Sosuke, and she does a little bit of magic by healing a cut on his finger, and they become friends.
Okay, so this is in the long line of magic fish story.
Yes, so many magic fish stories. In fact, Rem, could you name some of those those your favorite magic fish stories for me real quick?
I mean, I feel like they, like, just from, like, a lot of mythology and folk tales, it generally goes, like, all right, you got a guy, he's fishing, right? Usually poor. Usually poor is the framework. He gets a big old fish. It's just a fucking honker of a fish, right? And then it essentially depends, is the man greedy, or is his wife greedy? Because either he starts asking for wishes from the fish, blah, blah, blah. He goes back, gets more wishes from the fish to improve his life, becomes wealthy, or he's given a gift from a fish. Like a popular one is that he gets a thing that can duplicate whatever's put in it or whatever. But he essentially gets everything he's ever wanted from this fish, either because of his own greed or the greed of his goddamn wife. If it's his own greed, then it will all be taken away from him as he essentially exploits this fish. Because really it's just a metaphor for capitalism. But then if it's his wife, then he will be able to keep all of the stuff, but his wife will lose everything somehow. That's the most common framework of magical fish story that I'm familiar with.
Except that in this case, the man is a 5-year-old child.
Yes, exactly.
But it's more along the lines of the general plot of it is, as I've described, magical fish wants to become human. There's your little mermaid, rejecting her family in the sea, and the family in the sea wants her back. And that's kind of where the plot is.
Okay.
And then you just got some fun little slice of life stuff in the middle, and then the plot stuff that builds up near the end.
All right, I'm gonna go off on a tangent, Sean. You know, a great memory I have, a great childhood memory that is fish related.
No, I don't. What is your childhood fish memory, Rem?
Were you familiar when you were young, of the book The Rainbow Fish, that children's book? It was a sparkly fish, gave all of his shiny fins away, super charitable, went from being glam as fuck to making everybody happy, right?
Yeah, I remember.
Sometimes, Sean, I feel like on this podcast, I feel like that fish, Sean. Except instead of giving out my rainbow shells, I just have them plucked from me week from week until I lose all vibrance and sense of self. Until I'm just dull fish flopping around aimlessly, hoping to return to home, but never truly getting there. And I know that. I'm aware of that. But hey, at least we're doing Big Give this week.
Damn it, Ram! I wanted a wholesome episode. I wanted a good, happy, wholesome episode, and you had to bring fucking fish mutilation into this? The fuck, man? Side note, I just want to comment that the author of that book is called Marcus Pfister. And so I'm so sorry, God. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry that, he has a P in front of it, but I can't imagine you pronounce the P.
You don't think it's Pfister?
Yeah, or God forbid, P-Fister, because that is the darkest timeline.
Hello, nice to meet you. I am Marcus P. Pfister. Would you like me to read my book for your children?
And if you hang out with me too long, you're in trouble.
Oh my God, I'm all right. This is also tangential, and I'm sure we want to wrap up.
We couldn't get more tangential than before. Yeah.
I'm sure we want to wrap up part 1, get to watching, and then review it. Blah blah blah. But I have it pulled up right on Google, and there's just a handful of reviews. People are dragging this book. What the fuck?
Really? What did Marcus P. Pfister do to these people?
I don't know. People are like, this book creeps me out. This fish giving up pieces of himself just to be liked. Oh my God, this is so good. This is really good. Oh, okay. I have a review I need to read. We'll get to Ponyo. I promise, listeners, we will get to Ponyo. This is important. So this
is so important that we're losing the momentum of the point of the show that we're going to be talking about the reviews of The Rainbow Fish by Marcus P. Pfister. Or Marcus Pfister, or Marcus Pfister.
So, this review, 1 star, this is from Shawnee. Shawnee says, teaches socialism. No one likes you if you're prettier. You have to take your own scales and give them away in order to have others who didn't have them or work for them to be your friend. If you don't work, you don't get to eat. Shawnee, who hurt you? Wait, and my favorite part, 7 people found that review helpful. So 7 people really appreciated the warning.
Can we just start a new podcast where we just talk about like children's books and the reviews people give them? Because I would listen to that.
My favorite part is like, I wasn't familiar that when the Rainbow Fish was giving away his scales that it was actually through government coercion. I was unfamiliar with that chapter. I must have missed it. I don't know.
Who knew that the Rainbow Fish was a heavy Marxist? I never would have guessed that. It's the subtle things that the author just leaves hints for that makes a book really good, I feel.
And for everyone's knowledge, I did Google just now communist children's books. Oh yeah, there's a fuck ton. There's so many.
Oh, of
There's
course
so
there is,
many.
Ram.
But
It's called propaganda. That's how it works.
But if you want something more tame, you just settle for the Rainbow Fish, apparently.
Yeah, no, I mean, hey, it's got much more subtle allegories. Apparently there are sequels, by the way, Rem.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, no, you got the Rainbow Fish, then the Rainbow Fish to the Rescue, the Rainbow Fish in Spanish, the Rainbow Fish and the Big Blue Whale.
What the fuck?
The Rainbow Fish floor puzzle book. I assume that's just a puzzle book.
Sean-
Then there's Penguin, apparently, which is not a Rainbow Fish book. I don't know how that deviates from the canon, but apparently that is a thing.
Fuck Penguin Pete. But I have a question, Sean. So now
Yes.
now we know the politics of Rainbow Fish. Which political party would you put Ponyo in, out of curiosity?
Oh, let's see. It's pretty liberal. It's got to be, surely.
Yeah?
Yeah, because I mean, it's all about liberating the fish, so I feel like that's pretty liberal. But I don't know. Political party for Ponyo? It's a little communistic, I think. I think it's just a little bit of communist. Just a little bit of flavor of communist.
All right, so all fish are communists. That's what we've learned today. All right, there we go. That's
Hey. Socialism and communism are two very different
I'm
things,
sorry.
Remington.
Rainbow Fish is socialist. Ponyo is full-blown communist.
And we will explore our communistic themes in the hit Ghibli film Ponyo when we come back. So, that being said, Rem, let's go watch some fucking Ponyo. Jesus Christ.
ぽよぽよぽよ魚の子青い海からやってきた
Ladies and gentlemen, we are back after consuming the entirety of Ponyo, the 2008 Ghibli film, and Remington, how you feeling, man? It's a touch lighter than the past couple weeks, I feel.
Yeah, well, much lighter. We definitely aren't delving into like deep existential shit or some emotional problems galore. We're not doing that this week. This is just a very happy fish show. So it's much lighter.
Yeah, and before we begin, Rem, I have a very, very important question that we need to dissect. That's the question on everybody's mind after they see this movie for the first time.
Yep.
Remington.
Yep.
How do you feel about ham?
You know what? I'm a fan of ham. I support it.
Yeah?
I support the ham given to all communist fish around.
Fuck, I forgot we made that allegory in part 1.
Yeah, sometimes our listeners forget that like we don't like immediately watch and immediately record, right? There's some time, a variable amount of time between watching and recording. So sometimes we can't even remember what we did in part 1, but communist fish, that shit's unforgettable.
The new regime will be led with ham.
Well, let's talk about our aquatic comrade, shall we?
Yes.
So we open up the movie with an absolutely beautiful aquatic intro, exquisitely detailed, just a bunch of different sea creatures. We pan to a submarine with a big sort of magical bubble around part of it, and inside that bubble it's the Johnny Depp Mad Hatter. It's just this. It's like this very gaunt alchemist wizard man. I'll be honest. If you've not seen Ponyo and you're already confused, that won't change for the entirety of my description. You will just get more confused as things go on.
Yeah, the thing about Ghibli films are you gotta watch them. Even if you don't know if you're gonna like it or not, you gotta watch them. That's just kind of the way it goes.
So we get introduced to Ponyo, who's the biggest, I guess, goldfish out of all of the goldfish there. And Ponyo sneaks away from the submarine, goes with some jellyfish, tucks herself in a small jellyfish as a blanket, just goes to the surface, and then gets trapped by a trash collection boat inside of a jar, where she then washes ashore. But fortunately, as you mentioned in part 1, a young little boy named Sosuke? Is that it?
Yep, Sosuke.
Hey, fucking nailed it. He shows up. So he tries initially, like, tugging Ponyo out, right? Which is reasonable. But then he decides to do something that is, like, way riskier. He just grabs a big rock and he smashes the glass jar with it. And it's like, that works out. That frees Ponyo. But holy shit, that
And then the credits roll as she bleeds out in the water.
I'm a monster. That would have been an amazingly shocking moment from the Big Gib, if I'm being honest. It would have blown me away. Because you're just like, oh, a little cute creature. And then if it was just like, yeet, if it just
Ghibli films, when they do darkness, they don't usually do, hey, guess what? The main character you thought that this movie was about is actually dead now. Congratulations. You just watched it get horribly murdered by an ignorant 5-year-old. I would watch that movie, don't get me wrong, but I feel like it would change the entire tone of everything Studio Ghibli has done up to now.
Yeah, it ain't in the nature of the Big Gib Productions to do that. So then we see the alchemist dude. He can control water itself, sort of water beasts. I don't know how to describe it. It's think Moana, but more malicious is sort of where we're going there.
Yeah, that's fair.
But he can't get Ponyo back. So Sasuke, he's like, I'm just going to take it to school. It'll be fine. This is where Ponyo learns that she loves ham because Sasuke, he's getting a ride from his mom. They have sandwiches and he feeds Ponyo some ham and Ponyo fucking loves the ham.
I'm sorry, don't you mean
Yeah. Dylan, if you could just dub in some hams right here, that'd be great. So
yeah, just the way Ponyo says ham. It's just ooh. I
want ham.
It's sublime.
So, then at one point, Sosuke is like hiding Ponyo from the teacher and the other students. He then goes visit the senior center right next to the school, cause he's trying to hide Ponyo. And the grandmas are all very friendly towards Sosuke because apparently, Sosuke's mom, Lisa, she works at the senior center. So they're all like, oh, that's such a cute fish, except for one, which is like, it has a fucking face, get that shit away from me. Which, you know, fair. Relatable. And that one, the grouchy one, is like, bitch, this thing is gonna cause a tsunami, and like, yeah, it does. So she was right. She very correct, very astute. From Grouchy Granny.
Oh yeah, one thing you'll have to realize about Ghibli films, lad, is that a lot of them touch on the topic of man versus nature and nature versus man. This is the first one of the Totoro is kind of our first like little toe dip into that, and Ponyo definitely also likes to, you know, just kind of stick its finger in the whole, hey, guess what, people? You almost caused a natural disaster type of thing.
Yeah, even though it's interesting because in this case, like, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Because
Yes.
we're almost there. So, Ponyo starts talking to Sosuke, talking about, like, Ponyo loves Sosuke, cool. But then the water beast steals Ponyo away, and captures Ponyo away from Sosuke. And now the alchemist has Ponyo once again. Sosuke, he goes home, right? He's worried about, he's worried about Ponyo and hopes that she's gonna be okay. Meanwhile, they get a call from the father figure, right? Koichi. And he's a sailor, Sean. He's a good old sailor. But he won't be able to be home that night. Cause I think it was like the waters were too difficult or something like that. I can't remember.
You know, a good proper sailor reason.
Yeah. And Lisa, the mom, she is pissed about that. She's fucking livid. Lisa is less of like a super mature adult and more, she, you know, a weird comparison and recency bias does play a part, but Hina, yeah, Lisa has some Hina energy where it's like, yeah, she's an adult, but like in a lot of ways she just isn't. She's not a wildly mature adult.
Well, for some perspective, she's only 25.
Yeah, that's reasonable. She's still pretty immature, as are like most characters in this show. It's we'll get more into the characters later, but there's some weird choices. But there's some back and forth between the father and the mom and Sosuke using Morse code and lights, right? Because the storm is picking up. It's getting intense, Sean. Then we cut back to Ponyo. Ponyo now is in an evil aquatic lair. It's like I think the lair is like a big old coral thing going on. I don't really know. It's our first introduction to the evil lair. But the alchemist is like sort of trying to rehabilitate Ponyo. Ponyo, she's gone out. She's gotten tainted by the outside, by the dirty world. And trash is not even like a major theme, but like a minor theme, I guess. Like dirtying nature.
Yeah, by the way, the alchemist's name is Fujimoto, by the way.
Good old Fujimoto. So Fuji Apple over here.
And is also Ponyo's papa.
Yeah, Ponyo's papa, which they don't really explain at any point.
I mean, well, Remington, when a mommy fish and a daddy fish.
No, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. First, Fuji ain't a fish. The mother, which is the goddess of the ocean, did this crazy gaunt alchemist, did he fuck the ocean goddess and then she gave birth to a bunch? How does that work? How?
Well, Remington, I had to deal with questions of BoJack Horseman reproduction last week. So I feel like the idea of one strange magical fishman getting down and dirty with a goddess of the sea isn't so far-fetched.
Did he just like wank off
that's
deck?
goals.
Did he just wank off deck and then like his sperm went through the ocean and bada bing, bada boom, fish? Like I don't get it. I don't.
It's not a fucking salmon. Jesus Christ.
I don't know, man.
No, look. Love works in mysterious ways, and when you love a fish goddess, sometimes you just gotta make some sacrifices, and you gotta.
Yeah,
it's
weird.
I'm just saying that
weird.
if you had the opportunity to get down with a fish goddess or fish god, I'm not gonna hanker on either preference there. I usually feel like that's something that you got to try at least once, provided it's not like a Zeus god, because then that's just concerning.
Oh man. So at this point, because Ponyo earlier in the movie, Sosuke had a cut on his finger. Ponyo sucked the blood from it and made it better. But now she has tasted human flesh, which Ponyo, as it turns out, is actually the fish equivalent of Kirby. She's gotten a little bit of human flesh in her, so now she can turn into a human. Yup. So she just pops out some chicken legs, and I was gonna say chicken hands, but it's chicken leg hands. Like, imagine if a 6-year-old drew chicken legs, but then also gave the chicken arms that were just the chicken legs again. That's what we're dealing with. It's real weird. I don't like it. It's uncanny as fuck. She's then like, all right, teeth, and boom, she has like sort of teeth. And she's mildly creepy. I don't like it. I don't like half-human Ponyo. Thumbs down on that. It's weird. And I don't get it.
Just a little side thing. Also, you forgot that Ponyo has a bunch of siblings, so it's very possible that Fujimoto got down and dirty with Fish Goddess more than once. So.
It's true. There are many of them. Ponyo is the only big one. Every other one is super small.
Yes.
So then, Fuji, our boy Fuji, he takes care of Ponyo, puts Ponyo back in the aquarium, I guess. And he checks the crab shields, which are the water windows of the evil lair. Then he realizes they're low on magic, so he goes to put some magic liquid in a cauldron that's really just a well inside of the lair, and then he drinks some of it and he's ready to go. Does that make sense?
It's hard living underwater, folks. Yeah, you gotta drink a bit of potion here and there so you can keep going down there. I mean, it's
some of our listeners might think that I'm leaving out some crucial details or leaving out some explanations for things. I'm really not. This is just how it's presented. It's just boom, boom, boom. Here we go. This is happening. Yeah. So, during this time, all of Ponyo's siblings, they come around the bubble she is trapped in and suck her out.
Remington. Remington, this is a kid's movie. What the fuck are you saying? Do you want us to get in trouble? Do you want Chris Hansen to come knocking down our door, or more specifically your door? Because I ain't touching that. You might wanna rephrase things a little bit there, buddy boy.
All of her siblings come and suck on her bubble and
Want to take that one again? Wanna go for a third time? A bit less crude, please. A bit less blue. A bit less ocean blue. Let's get it a bit more, PG. Or I believe this film was actually rated G, but I honestly can't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure it was.
Okay, so they pull an elaborate heist to free Ponyo from the confines of her bubble prison.
Yeah, okay, that works.
Yeah,
that
sure,
works.
why not?
Leaves things to the imagination. I'm picturing oceans.
Yeah. So Ponyo feeling good, frees herself from the aquarium, then breaks the crab shields. Water floods into the lair. Everything's fucked. She finds her way into the magic vault with the magic well and the magic juices, and she uses those powers to fully become a proper little girl. You might have thought that it would have taken longer in the movie, because we're only about, 40 minutes in at this point. No, she is now a little girl.
It's a pretty short movie, all things considered.
I mean, it's an hour 40. That's pretty average length.
Oh, that's fair.
Maybe slightly shorter for a Ghibli, which is around 2 hours, but it's pretty average movie length. So, she frees herself as Fuji is away, and everyone else, and then she's a little girl. All of her siblings turn into gigantic water fish. They start out the size of, your thumb. They turn into fish the size of cars. So they become water fish that Ponyo is running on top of, and they start
as opposed to land fish?
Well, no, they're made of water. They are liquid fish. They are.
But if you think about it, Rem, aren't we all made of water?
I mean, plus other things. This is just water plus magic. So, very simple ingredient list. And so, yeah. So, tsunami starts, so Grouchy Granny was totally fucking correct about that. Meanwhile, Sosuke, he's just getting out of school, right? Just getting out of class.
Yep.
Rain is really picking up. Things are going crazy. Sosuke's the last one out, and the teacher's like, "Oh, do you want to wait for your mom?" And Sosuke's like, "Nah, I'll just take a shortcut." And so the teacher is a terrible teacher, because with an impending tsunami, just allows this young child unsupervised to go to the senior center. And I understand senior center not that far away. That being said, what the fuck? Don't do that. Walk the kid then, if it's not far away. There's a tsunami going on. The kid is almost blown away at multiple points due to the high winds. All right. Terrible teaching. Terrible teaching.
Well, I feel like you're being a little hypercritical here, Remington. He's a very self-sufficient 5-year-old.
Fortunately, but I think it's less that wow, he's such a capable 5-year-old, and more so that all of the adults on here have no concern for anything at all. There's gonna be some catastrophe in this movie. No one gives a shit. No one cares at all. So Sosuke, he goes on to his mom. They end up driving home, but it's difficult. At one point they have to cross a waterway that ships would go through and be taken in on, right? But they're like, yo, it's flooding right now, don't. And so she waits for a brief pause in the torrential waters, and she's like, yeah, all right, I'm gonna do it now. Which is the equivalent of you are getting to a railroad, right? And it starts bing bonging, bing bong, bing bong, bing bong, and the rail is going down, and you're like, fuck it, I got places to be. And you just go through as you can see the train coming. And once again, sure, it works out, but Jesus fucking Christ. and already it's been shown that Lisa, the mom, is terrifying as a driver. She, like, there's these very thin, winding roads on the edge of cliffs, and she is going buck wild earlier. So this is not surprising, but it's horribly irresponsible. It's just...
You know what you sound like right now, Ren?
What?
You sound like those moms, like those Christian moms that get really upset when the slightest thing is wrong with a children's movie. It's like, how dare they show magic in this movie? Don't they know that magic is real and my baby should not have to deal with the fact that magic is not real in this movie? Like, fuck. That's what you sound like to me right now.
I'm not here trying to say, oh wow, what an immoral piece of media. I am simply saying that the mother in this media is far from a role model. Like, to make a counter, right? Sean, you know Lilo and Stitch, right?
Yes.
So Lilo and Stitch, we have Nani, the sister, right? The caretaker, super responsible, super capable, trying to figure out how to make shit work. Lisa is the anti-Nani, where, like, for all intents and purposes, in this movie, she's basically a single mom. There's a father figure, but he only shows up at the beginning and end. But
he's not being a sailor. You can't blame him for that.
But Lisa's horribly irresponsible at every turn and shows no concern at any point for her child. It's a little bit ridiculous. But hey, whatever. She gets home nice and safe, so everything's fine. On their way home, what do you know? Sosuke's like, oh my god, a little girl got caught by the waves. And Lisa stops the car and is like, what the fuck? So she looks and Sosuke's like, yeah, she was walking on fish. Which at this point, I'd be like, bitch, we're in a tsunami. We gotta go. I don't have time for this bullshit. But no, sure enough, Ponyo shows up, first as like chicken Ponyo is how I'm gonna describe it. And it's like, oh, Ponyo, are you okay? And she's like, oh my god, Sosuke. And then she turns into a regular girl again and she hugs Sosuke and they're together. How fucking cute. They go home. Lisa doesn't give a shit. She's like, sure, why not? Makes some food for them. Tries to draft Ponyo, but as we're told, Ponyo was a fish. Water doesn't make her wet, which I don't think that's how fish work.
You know, I find every time I've gone fishing, I reel them suckers in, and I pick them up dry as a bone. It's very strange.
It's astonishing.
Like, it's almost like sandpaper. It's weird.
You wouldn't imagine that fish are just hydrophobic, but yes, indeed, that's what they are. So
yeah, no, you drop a fish and it just sinks straight to the bottom. Water just kind of avoids it. It's very surreal.
Yeah.
Fish, man, they're weird.
Also, we're shown that Ponyo's feet are like hands, so she's got like genuine monkey feet, which is weird. And
hey, don't disparage that. That's our history right there, my man.
I guess
evolution. If anything, it's unfortunate that we don't have the use of fancy hand feet these days.
It's just pretty weird. At one point, Lisa is like asking Ponyo about like her family, right? Mm-hmm. And here's not exactly verbatim, but nearly verbatim of what Ponyo tells this adult about her parents. Daddy keeps me as a prisoner, and mommy is really scary. Now you would think if you are an adult and you are hearing a child the same age as your child say that, you would show concern. You'd be a little worried, right? Oh, what do you mean keeps you prisoner and like your mommy's really scared? What do you are you okay? No, Lisa's like, all right. She doesn't even like. There's no follow-up question. There's hardly even an acknowledgement of it. What the fuck, Lisa? What the fuck is going on?
She's just treating everybody equally, Rem. That's all.
It's so fucking weird. Mom decides she sees a light on the other side of the island, and that makes her think, all right, well, I need to go to the senior center. So she goes to the senior center, which doesn't really, I don't know, man. It seemed like the water had already flooded the roads, but sure, why not? Apparently she can go to the senior center.
It's a coastal town. It's windy.
It's windy, he says. Yeah, everyone knows. It's fine if it's flooding as long as it's windy.
I mean, look at Venice. That shit's windy, and it's fine. Water just kind of goes on through. It's fine.
So the kids, they go to sleep. They wake up. The mom isn't back yet, but everything is flooded right up to their door. And it should be noted that they're like one of the highest places on the entire island. So the entire island's fucked. Everything is utterly fucked. The stores, the houses, you're all fucked. There's almost certainly been lives lost in all of this.
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Remington. This is a Ghibli film.
Everyone's fucked. So they're like, all right, so what do you do now? Well, just have Ponyo enlarge a toy boat and they'll sail away in search of their mom, I guess. Okay, sure. All right. It's a 5-year-old's plan, so it's fine. At this point, there's fish from the Devonian era, just ancient dinosaur fish, basically, that are now alive. Why? Sure. Don't.
Hey, man. Hey, ocean's pretty big, yo. There could be those fish in there. We don't know.
Why would they suddenly come to the surface? Like, and I'm not even talking about like, oh wow, they're higher than normal. No, they're like 10 feet down.
Hey, man. Hey, sometimes it's a vacation spot, right? You gotta let your flippers loose every once in a while, you know? You know, it's hard to be a fish from like the Mesozoic era. You gotta let your hair down a bit and just have a good time.
It's
Visit a coastal town.
It's windy.
It's very windy.
So while they're on the boat, they meet characters who it feels like they're family friends or something. We've never seen them, but they know Sosuke. And they're just going as if it was a Venice canal. They're just chilling on a boat, going past, right? And
see, it's windy. I told you.
So Sosuke and Ponyo, they visit, right? This couple on this boat has the grumpiest baby I've ever seen. It is... They have a baby that just hates everything. Like, it starts crying in a bit, but even before it starts crying, it hates the world. It doesn't want to be anywhere. It would rather everyone die.
Is it grumpier than the giant baby from Spirited Away?
Oh, fuck. Yes. Controversial.
Okay.
I'm going to say yes, it is a grumpier baby.
Wow.
That's my hot take for this entire show. Communist Fish has a grumpier baby than Spirited Away. Oh, God, what's happening?
So stupid.
So, fortunately, a bunch of the town have reconvened on boats, and they are going to a hotel, all of them, and they're like, hey, we're going this way, so follow us. And then Ponyo and Sosuke are like, oh no, we're gonna go search for my mom. And then these authoritative figures guiding the entire town to the hotel to be safe are like, all right, 5-year-olds, you go sail away into these waters and find your mom. Hope she's not dead. And that's... What is up with all of the adults here? What world is this? What's happening?
Where's your sense of childlike whimsy, Remington?
No, I'm not blaming Sosuke and Ponyo for their whimsy. I am blaming the adults for their irresponsibility. All right, if my child is here having elaborate fantasies about building a cardboard castle in the basement, all right, cool. I'm gonna foster that whimsy. But as soon as they start boiling water for their lava moat and start pouring it all over, no, yeah, I'm gonna put a stop to that right quick, I think.
But it's fine, because the water in this is actually pretty cold.
I'll be honest, Sean, the temperature of the water was not the primary message there.
Are you sure? Oh, I get it. It's because cardboard and water don't mix too well. You know what? That's very fair. Then mold will start to grow. I can understand the problem.
Yep. That was the only problem, Sean. The moldy cardboard was the only problem that I had with that. Ponyo, she's pretty tired at this point after doing a lot of magic, so she starts falling asleep in the forest. Fortunately, as she's falling asleep, it's right next to some uncovered road. Finally, some land is there, and what do you know? On that road, Lisa's car, right? So they get there. Ponyo sort of falls asleep on the land and is half awake, half asleep. Sosuke,
she's had a busy day.
She has. It's reasonable. So they go, and Sosuke checks the car. Lisa's nowhere to be found. I don't really know why the car was abandoned. I don't think they address it. I don't think they acknowledge. Essentially, all of the supplies that Lisa took for the senior center are still there. So I'm really confused That's not addressed. It's just there.
Maybe she wanted to go for a walk. It is a lovely day after all.
Like, oh God, I'm real worried about the senior center, but it is absolutely lovely right now.
Hey man, you're the one who says rain is the best. So.
It is. But if I'm trying to save some grandmas, I can enjoy the rain on my way. I don't need to take some me time. All right. So fortunately, we get shown the grannies, right? The grannies, they're underwater, but they're in a big ol' underwater air bubble that's been magically created by the ocean goddess. And the ocean goddess has shown up, is talking to Lisa right now, who's with the grannies, who also have been healed and can now, they're all very spry. All of them were in wheelchairs. Now all of them can walk. They're super energetic. It's being explained to us that, okay, well, the only way to fix things, I'm not sure exactly what's broken. Tsunami, maybe? I don't really know. The only way to fix things is if Sosuke, the 5-year-old, really loves Ponyo, and they describe it as a sacred love trial, which is fucking weird. And I'm losing grasp of what the fuck is going on. And Fuji, at this point, who so far has been the villain, right? He's been the bad guy through the entire movie. Now he's just like, yeah, everything's fine now. I'm with ya. Because he chatted.
He's not a bad guy, Remington. He just is a concerned parent and is very worried for the sake of his daughters.
He wanted to go full Team Aqua, flood the earth, and end mankind.
And in Pokemon, the third generation of Pokemon, Archie realized that, hey, wait a minute, this isn't so great. So really, if you think about it, there's some good allegories there. Also, I think this movie and that game came out about the exact same time, if I remember correctly. Or, actually, Gen 3 was a bit earlier, wasn't it? Wasn't it like 2004, 2005?
It might have been, yeah. Ponyo plagiarizing Pokemon.
Well, let's be fair. It's very successful. I don't blame it in the slightest.
So, I don't really understand why a sacred love trial is necessary. Also, apparently, they're like... So, wait, let me explain. So, they go, and as Sosuke and Ponyo, they go through a tunnel. After the tunnel, Ponyo turns into a fish again, and then they meet the grouchy grandma who refused to go into the underwater bubble because she didn't think it was safe. And Fuji shows up. Well, grouchy grandma is like, oh yeah, this guy showed up, I don't trust him. And then Fuji shows up, the aforementioned guy Granny doesn't trust. And he's like, listen here, Sosuke, you've got to save the world. If you don't come with me, then the moon is going to crash into the earth now. And we see the moon, and the moon is really big. What? Now, I want to say, some of you may be thinking, surely there was some, mentions of the moon before. I guess it was shown once, and it looked big, but that looked like an artistic decision, so I didn't put too much stock into it then. But, no, other than that one shot, I'm pretty sure this is the only mention of the moon is going to crash into the earth.
Well, Remington, if you think about it. So the tides, right, are controlled very heavily by the gravitational pull of the moon. So in theory...
But how the fuck did the moon get so close? How is the moon getting closer? And how will the sacred love trial between 5-year-olds fix this?
Look, it's about the magic, right? You gotta have a balance between nature and humanity is the idea. You have to have the balance between the ocean and the manfolk, and that balance is what will give, Grandma Mare, fish goddess, the opportunity the power, rather, to bring things back into balance, rescind the waters, send the moon back into the sky, and thankfully, at least this moon doesn't have a scary as fucking face. Thanks, Zelda.
No.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so continue on with the Majora's Mask situation. Sosuke is reluctant. He runs. Granny catches him and gets a face full of Ponyo. But then, fuck y'all, the water beast from earlier just consumes them and brings them down. And so it takes them down. Fuji follows them. They're on their way down. They get down there with everyone else. They're told what's up. Now we've been told about the sacred love trial. Are you ready for the sacred love trial, Sean?
Is it appropriate for our podcast audience, Remington?
I think so. Here it is. It's a questionnaire.
Yes.
That here's the questions.
All right, I'm ready.
And these
We've
are
been
for
doing
these
a lot
are
of quizzes lately. I can prepare.
These are for Sosuke, right? So just imagine.
Yep.
All right, so question 1. So Ponyo is a fish, right?
Yes.
All right,
Yes,
perfect.
yes, I do.
Awesome. All right, that checks out.
It was in the trailer. It was in the trailer.
So you love Ponyo, right?
Yeah, pretty well. I think that's fine.
Cool.
Yeah, Ponyo's pretty good.
And just to clarify, you love Ponyo even though you know that she is a fish, right?
That does make things difficult, but I've seen The Shape of Water.
Oh no! Oh
So-
no! But yeah, so that is the entire sacred love trial. It's literally just like, hey, so she's a fish. Do you still love her? And Sosuke's like, yeah. And they're like, the world is saved. That's all.
Well,
That's it. That's how we've done it.
okay, to be fair, Remington, the idea is that not only does Sosuke have to love her no matter what, where she came from, and just love her for who she is, Ponyo also has to be willing to give up her humanity as a whole as well, just to prove, it goes both ways. Ponyo has to like Sosuke, Sosuke has to like Ponyo. There has to be, it's a mutual thing, a bond between the species, as it were.
But like as a storytelling device, Ponyo only cares about being human. So that's all. She just wants to be human. She's willing to sacrifice her magic to do that, right? Meanwhile,
She also likes Sosuke.
well, yeah, and obviously she does because human and everything. But then Sosuke, like, it might have felt more dramatic if like he had been tainted by the world. He's literally 5. If you go to a 5-year-old and you're like, hey, do you love this stuffed animal? Even though it's a stuffed animal, they don't give a shit. They're gonna be like, fuck yeah, I love this thing more than half the people I actually know. That's how 5-year-olds work. It's not like, oh man, he's really overcoming these personal trials, or like, oh wow, this really speaks to humanity. It's like, no, he's just 5. It doesn't mean much at all. And so that
To be fair, 5 in anime land is more like 8.
So that's Ponyo. That is the whole fucking thing. And I have a few thoughts. First of all, there were moments of some really beautiful imagery. No surprise, it's a Big Gib. In Big Gib, you get big, good imagery. Am I right? You get some nice imagery. There's some pretty pictures in there. Other than uncanny half-human Ponyo, which is an abomination upon man and God. Other than that, really beautiful moments. It also, I think, does a nice job of like capturing some childlike whimsy, right? That definitely pervades the entire show. Now we need to address the not so good, Sean.
How many people are you about to make angry? I can't wait.
To reiterate what I've said about other Big Gib productions, this movie has a lot of plot. It has no idea what the fuck is going on with its plot. It has 3 different plots that it's not that it goes between them. It's not that it does all of them. It's just that in each third of the movie, it's about a different plot. But like in part 1 of the movie, you start a plot, but you don't end a plot. Then you get the middle of a different plot, but neither the beginning or end of that plot. And then finally, you end a plot that didn't even have a beginning other than, oh god, the moon is coming for us. So it's very disjointed plot-wise, but also very plot-heavy, which ain't great. Big Gib, not really good on the plot. But what I've said I've liked about Ghibli Productions is that you get humanity, you get really interesting characters, and some nice imagery. We got a bit of humanity with the childlike whimsy. We got some nice imagery, right? The characters, however, big letdown. God-awful characters. Sosuke and Ponyo, they're fun and silly children. That's nice. Lisa has okay moments, but is not a super consistent character, but none of them are consistent characters. Fuji is an interesting guy, but he has no clear motivations. None of them have clear motivations. There's no clear, well-defined motivations for anything other than Ponyo wants to become a person, and Sosuke wants Ponyo, and everyone else has no fucking clue what they want at any given point. They will do a 180 for no reason. It was a bit of a dumpster fire, Sean. It was so erratic and confused. And out of the Ghibli movies we've seen, I think has the worst characters because they lacked flavor and humanity. It was just, here's 2 interesting children, fuck everyone else, basically. Oh god. Ooh. It was rough. It was rough.
Man. Well, this might not do so well for you, Rem, then, because are you curious as to what the mouse score is on this film?
Oh god, it's a Ghibli, so like 7.8 or some shit.
Not too far off. It's 7.89.
Yep, there we are. Yeah, way too high. Way too high.
But since I don't want to, this was film that was released very popularly in the States as well. I will also give you a couple other ratings. So Rotten Tomatoes, the critic rating for this is 92%.
Oh, God.
The audience score is 83%.
Y'all are being seduced by the mystical veneer of Big Gib himself. All right, you're not.
IMDb is the most critical with a 7.7.
Oh God. Oh God. Here's the thing. Ponyo.
Yep.
Ponyo. I don't think it knows what it is because it feels like story structure wise, it's like a story for like a 5-year-old, right? It feels like that's what it's for. But at the same time, if I was a child, I wouldn't have enjoyed watching this show. I wouldn't have appreciated the beauty. I wouldn't have been able to figure out what the fuck is going on. I would have been lost real quick as a child. And there are just some weird, uncanny moments where I'd be like, nah, I don't like that. So I would have stopped watching. So I don't know what the primary audience is. I don't know what this movie was trying to do. It felt like this movie didn't know what it was trying to do. Don't get me wrong. Other Ghibli productions, they've also been mixed. Like, I think Spirited Away, before this, I addressed it felt like confused at times, but it was far more coherent than Ponyo. Ponyo, oh man, it has merit, right? All big Ghib productions do. It has some merit, but I think it's the worst Ghibli we've seen so far, and it's I think the first Ghibli that I'm going to give just a bona fide thumbs down to. Is it the worst thing I've ever seen? God, no. Of course not. I had some enjoyment while watching, but I also don't think it's that good. If you're super into Ghibli, you'll find some merit in it. Some of the visuals are really fun and really interesting and beautiful. Beyond that,
oh goodness. Here's another little fact for you, just to seal the deal. So in 2008, it was also the biggest earning film for Japan.
What the fuck?
Earning about 15.50 billion yen. So about 172 million in American. So all in all, very, very successful film, I would say. Unfortunately, I'll be honest, Rem, you have the most extreme opinion on Ponyo, because 90% of the people I've talked to have been like, you know what, Ponyo, it's okay, or they're like, you know what, I really like Ponyo because of how adorable and pretty it is. But there are no people out there, as far as I'm aware, saying that this is one of the greatest Ghibli films out there, and there's definitely a lot of people that are like, oh no, it wasn't horrible, I like it, but it just wasn't my favorite. You by far have the most angry opinion about Ponyo, which is very interesting to me.
Well, I don't want to present
congratulations.
I don't want to present things as like, oh God, this is the worst thing ever. It has merit. It has value. I even enjoyed a lot of it. It just wasn't that great, holistically speaking, and is the worst Ghibli you've showed me thus far. So where I think Spirited Away, it was like on the cusp, right? It was completely middle, neither positive nor negative. The other Ghiblis you've shown me, they've all ended up positive. But this one, no. It's the first one to get a slight negative review. It's not a terrible review, but figuring out what side it leans on, it's not a good one.
Oh dear. Well, I can't wait for the emails we get about this one, because I know the fact that I said that most people are very middle of the road about this film. We're gonna get the Ponyo stands out in the fields here. They're gonna be like, excuse you, Ponyo is a masterpiece. And I know you probably don't sound like that.
The best things about Ponyo are the and communism.
Oh Jesus. And I don't think we can top that. So without further ado, Rem, any chance you'd like to go and see Ponyo with me at some chance?
Probably not, Sean.
Well, let's get ready for those emails then. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We really appreciate it. If you'd like to support the show, I have a couple ways you can do it for us. You can leave a review on whatever platform you listen on, whether that be Apple Podcasts, especially Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, or giving us a word-of-mouth recommendation is also a huge help. However, if you would like to give us even more direct support, including gaining access to all kinds of lovely bonus content, then you can join our Patreon, patreon.com/animeoutofcontext, where you can gain access to all kinds of lovely bonus content, including the opportunity to have Rem horribly mispronounce your name live on the podcast. So, Rem, who are we thanking this week?
Well, of course, I would like to send my regards to our bland bitch protagonists, as well as our magical girls, who we really appreciate. But then we have to move on to our yandere waifus. Muse, who always a glistening blade in one hand and a heart full of love with the other. Where'd they get the heart? Who knows? Don't question it. On that list, we have Sarah Birch, Kazu Morocco, Anonymous Let's Talk About Handshakers Gamer, JoJo Zodiac, Juliana, Salty Pretzel, Glenn Michael Dolan, Ross Palmer, Jacob Livingston, H. Wood, Giggly Wiggly Jiggly Gibbly, fitting. Farmer November 17th is soon, weeb. It is, we're not prepared. Alexander Nasiensenyo, Remhub, Andrew Rowicki, NVIDIA RTX 3080 graphics card sold out instantly and now I am sad. Matthew B, Devin McCutcheon, Sage Schiffner, Reverse Kismo, Yummy Bulgy Wolgy, hate that, Peter Vlacity, Ready to be Isekai'd, Kenneth Reed, Remington Merrill, Visual Bin, Hunter Davies, Alex from Australia, Apostle of the Church of Remington, Alston Limerick, I like AOT for the Etchy, Snap Snips, Ichigo 015 Simp, Bad Bunny, and last but not least, we have Placenta Shredder 4000. Jesus Christ.
What the fuck, guys? Are you okay?
Y'all are degenerate. Y'all are degenerate as fuck.
Like, I know we have an explicit tag, but come on, guys.
They love to torture us. But moving on, the next tier, we're moving across the pond. We're going to Hogwarts for the boy wizard tier. All right. You know what? I'm gonna trust Sean with it. Sean, for our boy wizards, I want everyone to get like a kind of wizard, right? So it can be
a specialization, as it were.
You could say like, oh, they're a healer, or oh, they're a fire wizard, or something weirder. I don't care. It's up to you to figure it out. First, a Turnitarian. What kind of wizard is a Turnitarian, Sean?
Oh, a Turnitarian. They've got to be a Chronomancer, that being a time wizard.
All right, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. All right, Delina Perez, we thank you, but what kind of wizard is Delina?
Ooh, I feel like Delina would be a Pyromancer, that being a fire-based wizard.
Oh, burn, baby, burn. All right, Miguel Deleon, I got a good feeling about what kind of wizard you are, Sean. What is it?
Honestly, I feel like Miguel would be one of the coolest necromancers out there.
Oh, shit. Bringing up the dead.
You know, the kind of, yeah, you know, he makes skeletons dance. It's very good. It's very cute.
All right, then we have Pilkster, the Symphogear Advocate. What do you got for him, Sean?
Oof, I feel like you're probably, you know what? It sounds like a mage that would specialize in illusion magic.
All right, and then we got Rare, I'm gonna simp Hibike Euphonium until it's reviewed Kumiko. They're busy simping. What kind of wizard do they get?
Well, I mean, there's only one option, right? There's only one option. Like, it's got to be, like, Wizard of the School of Enchantment. And when I say enchantment, I mean charms, as in, like, hey, how you doing? Magical love simping is what we're going to give you. So you're an enchantment specialist.
Simping. Perfect.
There you go.
Right.
Congratulations.
What about Killer Queen Requiem?
See, now that's an evocation specialist. Absolutely. So things like, you know, general destruction magic, especially explosion magic. That seems appropriate.
Just murking shit and putting the killer in Killer Queen Requiem. All right, then we have Enrique Perez Torres. What do you got for Enrique? You know what? I happen to know. This obviously 100% planned in advance, as we always do, because we're so well organized. And Enrique, I hate to say it, this is my least favorite school of magic. I don't like it.
You know, it says a lot about you, Remington, that this would be your least favorite school. Because I feel like Enrique is a conjurer, which is, you know, creating things from nothing and taking things from the ethereal plane, summoning creatures. You know, the kind of thing that makes DMs super angry when you do it and don't have things prepared. See, every time you cast fucking Find Familiar or creatures without actually knowing what kind of creatures you want to summon is very frustrating. Yes, I know the book says you can, I don't know, tell your DM and they'll have it. And yes, I do have that information, but it would make me a little happier if you had some idea of what you actually wanted to summon before you cast the goddamn spell. God damn it, it makes me upset. Anyway.
Perfect. Yeah.
So conjuration, man. Congratulations. Good work, Clive.
And last but not least, we have Matthew Robinson. All right, Matthew Robinson, you're getting the last school of magic. Sean, what do you have for him?
Oh, man. I feel like Matthew Robinson, after seeing all the conflict that I sent their way, I feel like you've got to be a You know what? You're a war wizard. You specialize in combat magic, so congratulations. It's a very versatile school. Good for combat. Just don't get too in over your head, or else you will get splattened. Because wizards are notoriously squishy.
Hell yeah. And finally, we get to the top tier, going to the White House, the Chefinomusco tier. And on this Korean House Chefinomusco tier, because in honor of the communist fish, y'all are getting Finding Nemo characters. But
Oh, good.
I'm not gonna mention this every time, but they are each and every one of them has strong political leanings.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So
I'm glad that the ocean is a hot spot for political debate.
it's you know, hey, every fish is actually a political extremist. All right, on this list of the Chef Nomuscos, we start with Amoto Ahigao Uwu Waluigi for life Owo. And you know what, Amoto Ahigao, you're getting how can I? You're getting Squirt. Squirt, the little turtle that could. Fun fact about Squirt: he's an anarcho-capitalist. So that's Squirt's political leanings. Then we.
I mean, I was not expecting it to be that righteous, dude.
We have still eagerly awaiting Religion Out of Context. I'll be honest, I would love to do that podcast. I'm not sure if there's a market for it, but I would love that. But you know what? You're getting Bruce, big ol' shark Bruce. Very fittingly, he's a theocratic fascist. So
Oh wow.
so there, I know he's. Then we have the Almighty Sinner. The Almighty Sinner. You're getting Dory. You get Dory. And Dory is
Doesn't vote.
pure centrist, like enlightened centrist. All sides are the same. That's where Dory's at. Then Zachary Shirley has a football team made out of golden retriever puppies. It's not in the rule book. That I can't. You and your entire team of golden retriever puppies, you get Mr. Ray. Mr. Ray is a hyper nationalist, Mr. Ray.
Wow.
I know.
I didn't realize teachers were allowed to have that kind of opinion.
They say that it's like liberal indoctrination. Oh no, not for Mr. A. Complete opposite. Then we have Touchy Diplomat, lowercase Touchy Diplomat. I have to make this distinction apparently. Touchy Diplomat. You get Darla. The brace-faced little girl.
Which one's Darla?
The brace-faced little girl.
Oh wow. Oh wow. That's harsh. I was expecting a fish, not like, you know.
No, Darla is
The fish murderer.
Darla is anarcho-syndicalist, so that's her political leanings. Very, very libertarian, also pretty left. Then we have Silicon
I feel bad
Spectre.
for the people who are Googling this. Like, oh my God.
It's an interesting time. So then we for Silicon Spectre, you get Marlin. All right, you get the
Wow.
And Marlin, he is Marxist Leninist. So he's a
Jesus.
total tanky. If you bring up Mao, he will not acknowledge that Mao has ever done anything wrong. Do not get stuck in a political conversation with that guy. And last
Oh dear God.
last but not least, we have Touchy Diplomat. You might think that you're gonna get Nemo. I got bad news. You're not getting Nemo. Very sad. Nemo isn't that extreme in his ideologies. You know who is fucking extreme? Bubbles. Oh my God. Bubbles is some of the most extreme. He doesn't seem like it. Seems a little bit like distracted and unfocused sometimes. Oh no. They've been writing a manifesto. Their manifesto. You know what? They're straight up feudalist. They want us to go back to feudal times.
Jesus
He
Christ.
thinks capitalism never should have overthrown feudalism in the first place. If anything, he thinks like feudalist and then maybe even royalist a step after. That's where Bubbles is going. So there.
I mean, he does care about that chest of bubbles quite a bit.
See?
Wow.
So there you go. There are all of your fish political ideologues. I hope you are all happy.
I don't know if I am. Remington.
If you'd like
I feel like we're going to get some emails about this one.
go for it. If you would like to contact us directly to send those emails, whether it be for a comment, question, feedback, or recommendation, you can either tweet us at AnimeConPod on Twitter or send an email over onto animeoutofcontext@gmail.com.
Once again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Please, guys, do what you can for the important thing, voting. That's important. Yeah, guys, please don't forget to love each other, vote, and as always, don't fuck your sister. But as far as climaxes go, naked old people is about as far away from a climax as I can expect to get. But yeah, so looks like we're unfortunately still in the minority there, Rem.
It's ridiculous.